You're listening to Investify, preaching financial independence and assisting investors to achieve a more flexible and free lifestyle through smart financial planning and real estate investing. If leaving the corporate world and jumping into this thriving industry is what you desire, tune in and listen to stories of like-minded individuals who made the leap to financial independence. Equip yourself with the right tips and tricks to start your real estate journey, making active or passive ventures that are highly profitable and rewarding. Here are your hosts, Craig Curelop and Zeona McIntyre.
What's going on, everyone? You are listening to Investify. My name is Craig Curelop, aka the Fi Guy, and I'm here with my co-host Zeona McIntyre, aka Z Money. What's up, Z?
What up, dude? I love how your voice is almost cracking every time. You're just like, I have no voice left.
I have no voice. I feel like I've smoked 5 packs of cigarettes every day for the last 3 years. And I feel like I sound that way too, but maybe my voice will be deeper and wiser on the other end of this. And I'll sound like Morgan Freeman or something.
Oh, that's a good thing to strive to. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think the odds are? Pretty high, right?
We'll appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to pray for my Morgan Freeman voice to erupt next week.
Nice. What is new in your investing world right now? Are you doing any deals? It's coming up on the end of the year. This will be actually the beginning of the year by the time this airs, but curious how you're wrapping it up.
I am right now. I'm kind of just focused on kind of getting all my ducks in a row. This was a big stabilize year for me. So most of my properties are now stabilized. We are moving to Idaho. So that's a kind of like an investment house hack type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the investment is kind of slow right now for me. I'm looking, me and a couple of buddies are going to be getting into some multifamily syndications here shortly. And we're going to be kind of thinking between multifamily and triple net lease, figuring out, looking at deals in each market and figuring out which way to go. So trying to level up. That's my theme for 2022 is level up. Do you have a theme for next year, Z? Or what's up with you?
Well, I have a super extended closing that is supposedly closing tomorrow or Monday. We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it because it's going to be 2 months pretty much. Wow. But I have a beach house that I've got in Panama City Beach that's going to be a short-term rental, like the short-term shop. If people know Avery Carl, it's one of her markets. So yeah, I'm going to give it a try, but feeling excited to have that in the new year when spring is crack-a-lacking. Mm-hmm. So yeah, those things are wild. They make like $100K in 5 months. And then they sleep the rest of the year.
I know. I hear the short-term rental game in those like kind of tertiary like kind of vacation type markets are just awesome. I know Avery Carl does a wonderful job. So yeah. Yes, I'm excited to get updates on that once it's up and running.
Awesome.
Speaking of up and running, we've got a young runner on our show today. Chandler Saine. He's like, what do you say, 22 years old?
I think he's insane.
He is insane. Chandler Insane. That's probably his middle name. And yeah, the kid's a maniac, right? He does ultra marathons. He was state champ in wrestling. He has a super successful wholesaling business, does $180,000 a month in gross profit. And he's just built this in a couple of years, right? He's 22. And so he's going to dive in a little bit and tell us how he did that kind of mindset and how to kind of like push through those tough times, right? And everyone's got different ways and different methods of pushing through tough times, but his is, it's kind of funny, kind of entertaining. So let's bring him on. Chandler Saine, welcome to the show, my friend. How you doing today, dude?
Dude, I'm good, man. It's just another day living the life. How about you?
Dude, it's great to finally have you on here, man. We've chatted a whole bunch and we've talked about you getting on. And you are the last person in our core group of Denver friends to get on the show. So congratulations. I guess we saved the best for last.
Shoot, I don't know about all that, but I do appreciate it. It's an honor. It's an honor to be part of the Fi Guy community.
Hell yeah. All right, man. So why don't you tell us where you got started in your journey? How did you first hear about financial independence?
So how did I first hear about financial independence? It's a good question. I think honestly, for me, again, just to start it off, I'm 22 years old. So like if I speak from like a different angle, because I'm younger, but
you're a child.
He doesn't really know big words yet.
Yeah, I'm still learning. Like,
it's third grade reading level.
I never surpassed it,
Yeah.
But anyway, so financial independence, I would say for me, it was never something that I really like fell into. It was just like kind of the only option, I'd say, because when I was in like middle school, my dad like quit being a youth pastor for which he'd done for like 20 years, and he started his own business. And I saw like, of course, like my parents made good money. I never had just a struggle for anything. But once he started his own business in like the next couple of years, I saw the quality of life drastically improve and like how much more I was able to see my dad and be around my family and all this kind of stuff. So like, and I was like, I put two and two together. I was like, the only thing that changed is that he was, he did his own thing. He was became an entrepreneur, and that's about it. So
So how old were you when your dad became an entrepreneur?
I remember I was in 6th grade because I was supposed to go to this fall retreat thing with the youth group that I've been waiting to go for maybe like 5 years. And then he quit the year I was eligible to go because I was old enough. So I was pretty salty about it. But I think I was like, when 6th grade, you're what, like 11, 12, something
11,
like
12.
that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you still have some memory of him kind of working a traditional job.
yeah.
And then what did he go on and do at, through your middle and high school years?
Yeah. So what he did is he started up his own landscape company. So basically he's, landscape construction. So he's, started off cutting grass, but, quickly progressed into the much more lucrative opportunities like retaining walls, patios, and yada, yada, yada. And that's what I pretty much did all through high school because I worked for him building patios, building retaining walls, and doing all kinds of landscape stuff, which really, really sucked, but it was not too bad. But
yeah. So what did your dad pay you?
That's funny. Yeah, my dad screwed me. I'm just kidding. No, he paid me like $10 an hour when I was like 14.
Well,
and I remember it's not bad.
Good.
When I was a freshman in high school, I thought I was crushing it, making $10 an hour because my friends weren't making nothing. But I think by the time I was like 16, 17, I was making like $15 an hour. I was like running the crews and like doing the jobs. I went and sold some jobs for him and I got paid like commission on that. So it was kind of good on that. So I made more than that. But just not a whole lot of money.
Yeah. So I'm curious as to like, I always think it's fascinating when you kind of start your journey in middle and high school, because that's really like the foundation of the rest of your life. And so like on those jobs, did your dad teach you anything, even though he may not have meant to teach you something, but you just like saw him do it, right? And you're like, okay, you still remember that stuff?
Yeah. So like, I'd say the thing my dad taught me is just like the hard work and dedication. Just like when you talk to people, all you gotta do is really just pretend like you're helping them, or not pretend, but really truly help them, like try to help them and like accomplish what they want, and good things are gonna happen. So like he always had good image. He always spoke to people the way that and treated people the right way, and he always accomplished in creative ways what they wanted to get out of their mind, and he put it and made it reality.
Yeah. So in the group that I'm like in a mastermind group, and they call it leading with generosity. And I think that's such a powerful way to start your business, where you're not thinking about yourself and money and this exchange of trying to sell something to somebody, but really just like, what do they need? How can I serve them? Is this a good fit? And then like, it just kind of magically unfolds. So I love that.
For sure, for sure. He also taught me some other things. I agree with that completely. He also taught me, and I think it even goes further than just like right when you start it. It's like every single day, if you live that truly from the generosity side, it's going to pay big dividends, especially when you expect nothing in return, because eventually something great's going to come. It's just when. But on the things of what my dad taught me too is like, he also taught me that I never want to work for anyone, because I hated working for my dad so much, because literally he would just like tell me to do stuff, get mad at me, and like do all this stuff, and then like I'd have to come and slave away and like work hard and for minimal returns, and where I know he's making way more, I'm like, dude, I could definitely do the same stuff.
This just gives me flashback of Rich Dad Poor Dad, like your dad being the rich dad, even though he may not even have intentionally did it. But like, did you read that book? Did you draw any parallels with like, yeah, my dad was a pain in the ass. Maybe it was for a reason, right? So I wouldn't be just stuck as a W-2 earner.
Yeah, I never read the book. If I've read,
You've never read Rich Dad Poor Dad, dude?
So when you asked me the question, like y'all emailed, what 3 books have you read? I only have read 3 books this year, so that's pretty much all I can come up with. But anyways, yeah, so I haven't read it, but to draw some parallels there, yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's just like I wanted to go fast and do all these things and help him grow his business, and that's what I thought I was going to do, is like help him grow his business into multiple 7 figures and go on from there. And I want to do fast, and I had big goals and big dreams, and he was just like kind of on the opposite. So like it was always me going and him like pulling me back. So I was like, this doesn't make sense.
So when did that end, right? It sounds like through middle school and through high school, you were hustling, like doing a lot of like manual labor, which like the work pays off, right? You come to school all, I can see you like sunburned, and where did you grow up?
Yeah, Jackson County, Georgia, which is like
So it's
it's
probably
like a
hot
it's
as
a sub.
hell,
Yeah,
right?
it's so humid, hot. August sucks. You're wet all day.
Yeah. So you're outside, like it takes a certain amount of like grit to kind of like get through that, which is something I think your dad instilled in you and you probably didn't even realize it. But yeah, so I guess when did your stuff with your dad end?
Yeah, so it ended. I think it was when like I was like 19. So it was like the summer, like it was like yeah, I was like 19. Maybe I think I might have just turned 20, like which was like the winter, obviously, but maybe it was like yeah, it was somewhere around then. And basically, I was like that was like my last summer working for him, and pretty much I decided I was like I got to do something different. And and I was looking into all kinds of stuff, right? So I was like, should I, do digital marketing? Should I do, that's really where I was going. Or I was like, I was just gonna start my own landscape company. Like, screw it, I already know how to do all this stuff. It's easy. I can do it on my own, just in another location. Because at the time I was going to school in Kennesaw, which is like an hour and a half from where I live. Like, I'll just do it over here. Same stuff I already know. I already literally know how to do everything. Know how to sell jobs, bid jobs, fulfill them, do all that work, and then just do it. But so then I bought a course for like digital marketing, and I was just going to go and do that. So like Facebook ads for blue collar people like my dad, because I knew that they didn't know how to generate their own leads. So that's what I was going to do. I bought this guy's course for like $2,000 on a funnel on YouTube. So I was desperate. I was a motivated buyer. And then once I bought it, I got sick for like a month, and I was down like really, really bad. Like I could hardly walk up the stairs. And then if you guys know me, like I'm in very, very good shape. I've always, I run ultra marathons now. So I'm like running 30, 40, 50 plus miles. Back then I just got done wrestling in college. So, I'm used to extreme physical exercise, and I could hardly walk up the stairs for like an entire month. And this was like pretty bad. So then my buddy Gino, who's like my partner now, so now he hits me up and he goes, yo, dude, I'm doing this thing called wholesaling. I'm like, yo, that's pretty sick. I moved in with him. We started going, and then next thing we know, that's what we started doing, start wholesaling.
So did you just paid that $2,000 and never watched a single video of that course, and like whatever, you got sick and kind of forgot about it, or what happened?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I mean, I paid it. I got so like I literally like it was like I paid it, I bought it, I like opened it up, I watched like the intro video, yada yada yada, and then pretty much from there I got so sick, like it was like snap my fingers. I could hardly get out of bed, could hardly walk upstairs, do anything. So $2,000 gone.
Like, what about wholesaling appealed to you? Like,
Well,
what was the pitch your friend gave you?
Yeah, so he was just like, one, you do a deal and you make like $15,000. Like, that's pretty sick. Two, my buddy's my age, and his vision and my vision align in what we want to do. Like, I want to do big things. I want to do great things. Like, I mean, I'm not here just to poke things around and be average. That's not what I'm about. So, he's the same way. So, I mean, it's just like a no-brainer. I was like, oh, dude, this is so much better than me doing it on my own, because it's kind of lonely when you go on your own too. It's like, but it's better always together.
So did you guys have, so Gino comes to you, pitches it to you, you guys have the same goals, vision. Do you guys have complementary skills, or what is your skill set?
Yeah, so I would say our skills are very complementary. Almost every single thing that I'm great at, or I consider myself great at, he's lacks, and almost single thing I lack, he's great at. To give you like an idea, he's probably the best person at talking to people, and really just like is super, super creative. Now, am I bad at talking to people? No. Am I not creative at all? No, it's not true. But it's not my strongest suit. My strongest suit's analyzing, numbers, process, organization, structure, making decisions that are going to make a big impact. So I think there's a lot of things that go into that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, that is such a crucial element when you're trying to find a partnership. And you hear this all the time, right? If you've ever read the book Rocket Fuel, or like Founder and the Force Multiplier, Traction, there's always this visionary that like has 9 million ideas. Then there's this analytics guy that says, whoa, pump the brakes. We can't do all those. Like, let's figure out what actually makes sense. And you need to have both of those people on your team. Otherwise, if you have the same skills, you're going to butt heads and run into each other. And so I think before you go into a partnership, make sure you like have those roles and kind of responsibilities set out. It sounds like you and Gino, did you guys stumble into that, or did you know
Um,
the
I
get-go?
mean, so we took the integrator visionary test and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, we're both. So like we're both sides of it. But it's just like we share similar skills on both sides, right? So like for him, he's amazing at relationship building, big, big relationships. So like if we like, for example, we have a bunch of friends who do hundreds of deals a year. Like one of our buddies, they do like $1 million a month, and like we just text them up whenever. But if it was me, I'm not the one to go out and say, hey, let's go build this relationship, just because I'm like, I'll get it when I need it. But Gino's the guy who's like, I might need it someday, so I'm going to have it in my pocket. So that's for him. That's like one big thing. For me, it's like, I'll make sure that I nurture those in the back end kind of thing. But go ahead.
For people who don't know what wholesaling is, can you tell them a little bit about kind of your process and what you guys are doing for people?
Yeah, exactly. So wholesaling from a high level, very, very simplistic to teach a first grader, is you talk to someone who wants to sell their house. You go under contract to buy their house. You have like one line of verbiage in your contract. Well, it's one paragraph. It's like an assignment language. It just says that you can sell this contract to someone else, basically. Then you find a buyer who's like a flipper, investor, whatever it is, and you sell the rights to that contract to them. You then, of course, coordinate closing same day. You just collect an assignment fee as part of the transaction, right? So you just connect them and you sell the contract essentially. So you never buy the real estate. Go ahead.
So for wholesaling, it's funny because many people start there. And I actually think it's one of the harder like ways to do real estate. Why do you think people start in that? It's just a good way to get quick cash kind of deal?
Yeah, it's easy, low barrier to entry. I mean, the barrier to entry is high because it's very hard work. But once you get the work down, it's just a numbers game. So literally, I can tell you that if I texted 16,000 people, like we're gonna get a deal and we're gonna make like $25,000. So like it just becomes where it's that simple. Like it's like if we get 6 appointments, we get 1 contract. It just works that way once you get it once you understand it. So like now it's like very predictable. But when you first start, I mean, it's just because it's easy. Easy to start. It's low barrier to entry. You can do it with very low money. You can learn, and then you move forward from there.
So how do you I suspect that you're going to text a lot of people. You're going to call a lot of people. You're going to try to get these deals. And like, I've got these calls, man. And a lot of times you're just a huge pain in the butt. So like, and obviously it's not like personal, but like, how do you deal with all the denial and just everyone saying no to you all the time?
Yeah. So it's definitely not that fun to get told no a million times, but you know that it's like when you're in the grind, you're working out. You're like, I'm doing this today because I know tomorrow it's going to make me better. It's the same thing. It's like I'm making this call because I know in 10 calls I might get a chance, or in 100 calls I might get the chance to talk to someone motivated. Because all it is we're just literally at the high level. If you think about it, is we're just getting all the people like you, Craig, out of the way so we can find the person who really needs our help. And those people who really need our help, it's like I'm facing foreclosure tomorrow, or in a month. We got to have this done, yada, 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 those kind of situations.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I always think that people that can wholesale will make incredible agents, because it's like what you do as an agent, but like you guys work even harder, but agents make so much money. And so I kind of wonder, have you thought about going that route? What are the things that appeal to you and don't appeal to you? Or is that just not even really crossed your mind?
I've never really thought of being an agent. In our market in Atlanta, average home price 300,000. So I mean, you make decent hits. You make $9K a pop or so if you're the full 3%. So, but in Denver, I could see how it'd be a little bit more, a little bit more fruitful. I mean, for us, the margins make sense because we're able to now we've been able to increase our deal size through some different exit strategies. We're able to cut out the middleman of the flipper and basically provide a product straight to the MLS for an off-market seller. So now we're able to increase our deal size, from $15,000 to almost $30,000 per deal. So that boosts the margins a lot.
Yeah, wholesalers get a bad rap, right? And I can't say that I totally agree with it. I mean, some are definitely shady. I always think of wholesalers though as professional problem solvers, right? And that's kind of the difference between an agent and a wholesaler. Like a wholesaler is trying to find someone that's distressed, needs to sell that house quick, not do any repairs, right? Or if you want to get top dollar, you just want to sell your home, a real estate agent is probably a better way to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Given the bad rap that wholesalers have, how do you kind of combat that, or how are you different? How are you not a jerk wholesaler?
Yeah. So I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's we just are here to solve their problem. People come to us. There's price is not something you're ever gonna be able to convince someone to sell their house for cheap, right? they have to be in a dire circumstance. Think about like, you have to sell your used computer. Well, I want to sell it quick in a couple of days. I'm going to sell it for 60% of what it's worth. I don't know the easiest example because I just did it. So like there's no reason, there's no way, no one's going to buy it for full price like in one day. So for that situation, people need it. They have to sell it. We're able to solve their problems. And a lot of times these situations are just like, they're like, I don't want anyone ever to come to the house. I never want anyone to do this, yada, yada, yada. So we got to overcome all those objections. Let's say there's title problems, we got to help clean the title. We got to track down inherited people to get them to sign this doc and that doc for the attorneys. And so we can do closing. But I mean, to really answer your question, is like, we never have any sellers who are ever coming out of pocket at closing. Like we had made a 25K deal, for example, like way back, probably like 6 months ago. The guy was going to come out of pocket like 7 or 8K. And we're like, no, we're not gonna do that. So we just cut our margin down and made him come out of pocket 0 at the closing. So like that kind of thing. We also literally, like, they leave all their stuff at the house. Like these guys are hoarders. A lot of them, like terrible hoarders. And like their stuff literally stacked to the ceiling. Like this one house, there was like a goat path through the house and it was stuff stacked to the ceilings in a 2,000 square foot house everywhere. And we cleaned that entire thing out and gave them one price and they left. And that was that. So they didn't have to deal with any of that. I mean, there's the stuff we do is like, most people never realize it because it technically is a little bit of the dirty work, but it's the work that no one wants to do. No one's wanting to go clean out a house for this and that. But luckily we have college friends who do that. So
okay, yeah. So it sounds like, all right. So like just kind of recap a little bit. So you started kind of working with your dad, which was kind of shitty grunt work, and then you run into your buddy Gino. You guys start chatting, you start this wholesaling company, and a lot of that is grunt work, right? So like that must have been something that you got from working with your dad, right? Like just being able to like do that grunt work, cleaning. I mean, that just sounds horrible. Like, most of your properties have multiple owners or like, not responsive owners or title is not clean or whatever. Like you're just like solving all of these problems that
it's even just getting the seller information sheet filled out for the attorneys in Georgia, because Georgia's an attorney state, not a title state. Just getting the seller information sheet so we can get payoff is like been near back, like breaking your back sometimes, like most of the time.
And so like, what makes you decide that you want to go through with this and kind of scale this business?
I mean, it was just what we were doing and it made a lot of sense. And the few, like it was a clear path. And also like at this point now too, like we don't deal with any of that stuff either. So like, I don't talk to any, very rarely do I talk to an attorney or talk to a seller. It's like if the problem's pretty bad. So, we were able to delegate it out quickly to where we don't have to do it. And then now we have this thing that we're building and, it's able to just spit out cash.
What kind of systems do you have in place or people that make it easier? Because when you're talking about texting 16,000 people, I mean, I try to get my agents to text 100 people like a week, and that's not possible sometimes. So you have to have systems for that.
Yeah, there's definitely, so like for texting, we use this thing called launch control, which like we send like 4,000 texts a day from it with like some VAs from like Venezuela. So we have, together, our whole team is like 24 people. So we have, several VAs cold calling and texting, and, we have a marketing director who manages like our SEO and like some direct mail and our TV ads and some other stuff. Then we have like 3 appointment setters, we're just calling all the new leads, qualifying them up. We got 3 closers who sign contracts. We got a dispo person and a dispo assistant. So that disposition is like they sell the contract to someone else. So they just make sure we get a sell agreement signed. So we're not holding it. We don't have to buy it ourselves. And then we have a transactional coordinator who deals with attorneys and cleaning title. And then, other than that, we have just a bunch of college friends who are in fraternities that go and clean houses out.
That's a lot. Wow.
Yeah. So are all these people on salary or do you pay them?
They're like mixed. It's like base and commission. So most people are on like some sort of like, revenue share and some sort of base salary. That's been like the biggest challenge for us is like it's like now we have all the people. And now it's just like catching up the training for these people. So where they're operating at a high level, because we have the people now to be doing like 7 times what we're doing in revenue. Well, maybe 5 times what we're doing in revenue. So that's good. So for the short term, it's kind of sucks, but because the profitability is down. But in the long term, once these people get trained up, it's gonna just take off.
So how do you go about training them? Like what's your process?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a big question to undertake. I would say the biggest thing starts with having a consistent, simple process. So like when a lead comes in to when dollars are sent out, there's a super simple process from like, hey, we got to set an appointment. So when a lead generated, it's just someone who can sell at any level, goes to appointment. When appointment's set, what appointment is, someone who's has true motivation to sell, they really need our help. And then basically they're ready to make a decision. So they're actionable and they have motivation. Then when we get a contract, it's just we're able to get agreement put together. We sell it. That means we're able to match buyer and seller together. And then at that point, closing happens and we get paid.
Okay. So basically
within that.
So every piece of what you just said is its own system. Right?
Yeah,
like
exactly. So
you must have, do you have like documentation on everything, like
yeah.
videos? So like anyone,
and
yeah.
Yeah, and to walk through like a very like high level, like this is how I teach my team to like make their own documents, SOPs. So like I made a bunch of them, but there's only so many things I can do in the day, and I shouldn't be spending my time making an SOP when they already know how to do it. But from a high level, what they're doing is they take the fundamentals of the role or of their responsibilities. So like let's say that they list out everything they're responsible for. Then what I tell them to do is group that into as little categories as possible. Usually like 3 to 5 categories is about where it usually lands. And those are the core fundamentals of your role. And then within those things, you break it down into like subsets. Like if the subset is, the initial call, well, you have asking about the condition, you have asking about the asking about the timeline, asking about their motivation, all these different things that go into, have videos, documentation about it. And then within that, you're able to train. And then like that's like for your onboarding type stuff. Once you get past that, you got like the continued training, which is just meetings, reviewing, like for our sales team, reviewing a call, going deep dive, like, hey, you said this is the outcome you got. What if you would have worded it this way? Do you think it would have been a different outcome? And then help them come to their own solution to where they could have figured it out. And also just help them with their mindset too. It's a big challenge. But
what part are you doing? Like, are you just doing appointments, or are you not doing anything? You're mostly like overseeing and training and coaching.
Yeah, exactly. People. So I oversee, technically I sit in the finance, like the CFO role, doing GAAP accounting. Just kidding, I don't do GAAP accounting, but Craig knows that one though.
Yeah.
But inside joke. But anyways, other than that, there's like a marketing department. So we have a marketing director, sales director, which is Gino, and then we have dispositions director, transactional director, and then and then we have finance. But I oversee those departments, and that's my job. So I just oversee them and train our directors to train the people under them.
All right. So it sounds like, dude, you're crushing it, right? Like you're probably 4 or 5 steps ahead of someone that wants to like get started, right?
Yeah,
so, like,
right here, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if someone wants to get started wholesaling like tomorrow, what do you recommend the first thing they do?
Well, if you don't have capital, like much capital, I would say the best thing to do, and we have two of our best guys right now on our team are doing this. Actually, 3 of them. They came to us and said, "Hey, look, I want to start wholesaling, but I want to learn from you guys." So we're like, "Okay, great. Give us a year of working with us. We'll teach you everything we know. You do sales, you run it, and then you can go on your way if you want to at the end of the year." So we get a year-long commitment, and then they learn everything from an operation that's well-oiled. Well, I say well-oiled. We're learning so much every day, but an operation that's working. So one of our guys is like, "I'm staying with you because you guys are amazing, not leaving." Another guy is thinking he's going to leave in a couple months because he really wants to do it. But that's what I would do, is if I was starting over and had to go right now and no money, I would go and ask someone, "Hey, can I work with you? Can I do like run acquisitions, do whatever it takes to get a part of it?"
Okay. And how do you find that person? And how do you ask them in terms of like, how do you convince them to pick you to help?
I mean, it's the same thing as like if you're doing an interview right now, like if someone's asking me like, if you're pitching, you always pitch yourself. So no matter what, you're always selling something. So you're selling, like for me, I sell myself every day and sell my ideas and my reasoning to my team on why you should think this way, or why you should change your mindset to, to have this more of a killer mentality, not killer mentality, but like more of like a hardworking, go-getter, yada, yada, yada. So like same thing. It's like I define people, Facebook groups, you DM a bunch of people in there. They're all wholesaling. You can just look up wholesaling in whatever city. Instagram is a great way. I mean, that's where I do all my stuff. I get DMs like every single day of people just messaging me and asking like for stuff. And like, just do something that makes you stand out. So like, you got to provide some kind of value, right? So you can't just be there like, "Hey, let's go get coffee." For me, that's not going to do nothing, because my time's too valuable just to go spend an hour and a half, 2 hours to go get coffee. But if you say, "Hey, can I work for you? Can I are you hiring? Can I do sales calls for you? Can I do anything? Is there anything I can do with you? Whether, and you don't say you need to get paid. Most people will pay you commission gladly. We'll, if you want to work for us, we'll put you through a hiring process and get you onboarded. But most people would love to have help. And then, as far as like how do you get them to pick you, it's like, just prove that you're going to be successful no matter what. And you got that mentality. If I see someone who's dedicated, hardworking, they have the right mindset, like, you can call it the Mamba mentality or whatever, they're going to crush it no matter what. It's just going to be a matter of time before they learn it. So if you have all those things, someone who's successful is going to notice that and pick you.
Yeah. And so, long story short, right, the number one thing you got to do is find someone that's a few steps ahead of you, that's already doing what you want to do, because that's who you learn from. Right. And that's it. Whether you want to wholesale, whether you want a house hack, whether you want to burr, flip, get into real estate, whatever it is, like find that, mentor person and add value to them, and they'll naturally mentor you back. Please do not ask them to be your mentor. I will come to your house and backhand you if you say that.
Don't say that.
Yeah, but just add value, and then they'll add value back. And if you add value for free, that person is going to want to give everything to you, like more and more, as much as they can back.
Yeah. And like, it's big, like and also for me, like I see other people who are doing stuff, and like people come to me like, can we hop on a call? Can we do this? Can we do that? And I say, like, send me your questions. Send me questions you have, like what is going through. I never get a reply. Like almost like 1 out of 100 probably have sent me actually questions. And like the people who send me questions and I answer that, I respect that, because I'm like, this guy actually has questions, because then the reason he has questions is because he's actually doing something. You wouldn't have questions unless you're doing something. So I see you're doing something, your questions get progressively more and more, advanced and more complex in nature. And I'm like, this guy's starting to crush it. So that's another thing too.
Yeah. People ask me all the time, what is house hacking or all these things. I'm just like, I wrote a book for this very reason, and it's to educate people to get to like a pretty basic level of understanding. And so you should be able to do a house hack yourself. If you're like in the middle of a house hack and you've got a specific question, you hit me up on Instagram, I almost guarantee I'll get back to you in a few days. Right. And it's like, but if you ask me these like, oh, what's house hacking or what's an FHA loan? It's like, I'm just going to refer you to my book. Right. That's why I wrote the book. And so, basically, and I don't want to sound like a jerk, but like I put like hours and hours and hours of time into writing this book to answer those questions. But you ask me that question, it means you don't respect my time, which means you don't respect me, which makes me feel bad about you. So don't ask like super dumb questions, right? If
Google has those answers too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So end rant. But
no, I couldn't agree more. That's important.
Chandler, I want to figure out like, where do you want to go, right? Because you're still kind of early in the journey. I mean, I know you've scaled your wholesaling business quite a bit for your age, but like, what's the goal, right? Like, what do you want?
Yeah, so for me, what I want, I mean, I love leading people. So like, I love leading people and creating greatness, whether it's myself or through things that I have a direct impact on. So I mean, and I always, in anything I do, anything I put myself in, I always want to be the best. It's just like an thing that's in my soul, from wrestling to sports to anything. So, I mean, for us, like a number goal is by the end of 2023, where our goal is by 2023 to do $1 million a month. It's our goal for gross profit. Right now we're around like 180. So hopefully we're able to get up to that number. I think we have the team to do it. We just got to put some more things into place. And then other goals, I mean, like big picture, I mean, like we talk about all the time, just like the freedom to do whatever I want. Like if I want to work 10 hours a day, I can do that. If I want to work 0, I can do it. So just have that freedom and also be able to make the biggest impact possible.
When you say gross profit, what does that mean?
Yeah, so it's just like whatever you net. So like if we did a flip, like typical revenue in a transaction, like most accountants see it, it's like you sell a house for 500,000, that was your revenue, 500,000. But really there was like $370,000 of costs in there. So your gross profit's only 130,000 in that scenario. So that's what it would be. So it's like actually the money that goes into your bank account.
Gross profit before your operational expenses, like paying out your VAs and all that stuff.
Yeah. So it's just like cost of goods sold is all it is, taken out pretty much.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, so dude, I love that. I love your why.
Oh, I just wanted to point out like a link that I saw. It's so interesting to see that you're like loving developing people. And it seemed like you kind of took this from your dad, who was like a youth leader. and he was like bringing out the greatness of people, but in more of a religious way. But do you feel connected to him in that way now that you're doing this job and it's not working for your dad?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, me and my dad have a great relationship. So I mean, we talk all the time. I never thought of it in that way because he was always my baseball coach when I was growing up. So he always coached me. But in like a lot of it, like for me, is like I noticed at a young age when I was like 16. So I was like in high school, I was a state champion wrestler. So like whenever I got to that level of like becoming a state placer in high school, I started training some of my buddies who like, and I took one of my friends from not even qualifying for state to getting second the next year. And I was like, dang, this is pretty cool. So I did it a couple more times and I got a couple kids up to placing at state. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. I love teaching people how to do things and get better and seeing them achieve what they always wanted to achieve. And that could be, goals or financial stuff. So, I mean, like, I'd say that's like one of my biggest talents and my biggest roles is just developing the team mentally. So their mindset's right. And also like from a personal skills point of view to help them get where they want to go and, typically align on their goals, because it's usually financial, typically helps you get to that goal by financial independence. So help them get to that financial independence goal by getting the company to the goals that we want to. So it's all aligned.
You're a state champion wrestler and you worked with your dad, landscaping. Like, how did you fit in the wrestling and the working and all that stuff?
The short answer is I didn't really. So I didn't really fit in. No, not really. I mean, I honestly never had like great friends until.
Oh no, sorry. I mean, fit it all in, like time wise.
Oh.
I don't care about your friends, bro. I know you don't have any of those.
I hardly got friends now. I'm just kidding. No, I got plenty. But how did I fit it all in? Honestly, I was grinding, man. Like when I was working for my dad, mostly I would work during the summer for my dad, and I'd work some like during like some other like weekends if you need help. But I mean, for the most part, like let's say school, like during school, I broke my back also my junior year after states. So I was out for like 6 months and I was waking up at 4:30 every morning, working out for like an hour and a half before school. I'd go to school. I had 2.5 hours of gym class for the 2 periods of it back to back, where I'd work out, play basketball, run. Then I would practice every day for like an hour and a half. And then some days I would go to like a training center for like an hour later. So like I did that for like 8 months where I just literally just grinded all day. And I think like probably like one of the things that makes me successful in whatever I do is just like no one's gonna outwork me no matter what. So like you match hard work with like intelligence and strategy, and it's a recipe for success. So
yeah, that's the Mamba mentality, right?
Exactly.
So I love that.
Which really sucked. Like that hit me hard when he died too, because I was like, dang.
Yeah.
So I really looked up to him a lot for the way that he.
For those of you who don't know who Mamba is, it's Kobe Bryant. Is if you're not into sports, but I suspect you've all heard of Kobe Bryant. Yeah, and he's just known for his hard work, and obviously he's a legend. And as a dude from Boston who grew up hating Kobe Bryant, you can't help but respect him. So
exactly. He's a beast.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I think we're about to head into the final part of the show. Do you have any words of wisdom you want to drop on us?
Oh man, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess like the biggest thing would be if you ever have any doubt in yourself, then like you got to push that out of the way. Because if you believe in yourself truly, no matter how much you feel like it's impossible, if you truly believe in yourself, then you'll accomplish whatever you want. Because if you truly believe right here, then it's gonna happen. So I mean, that's what I'd say. So if you think you're gonna be a millionaire and you truly believe it, then you'll be a millionaire. Just think about it every day. Look at it every day. If you want to have financial freedom, whatever it is, as long as you truly believe it and truly have bought in, it'll happen. And also like one thing on top of that too is like I got knocked down. By being knocked down, I mean like I did an ultra marathon. The first one I ever did was a 50 miler in Fairplay, Colorado. It's actually why I moved out here. And I even know Craig and I'm here in the first place. Is I ran that race and I was like 30 miles in and I finished 37 miles out of the 50 because I got knocked out by time. But I didn't truly believe before I went to the race that I could do it, and it showed because I got broke mentally during the race. So like that lived with me for like a week or two until I signed up for the next one because it ate me up so bad. And then the next one I was like, oh, I'm doing this no doubt, no matter what. And it was way harder the second one because I hurt my foot and had to limp for the last 25 miles because I don't know what happened, but I could hardly walk for like 2 weeks after the race. And I limped the last 25 miles and finished because I knew I truly believed I could do it. And because of that, the willpower and everything else just fell into place. So, I mean, it still happens. Like you still get hit with those battles. So
That's
limped 25 miles.
yeah,
So
that's
insane.
the David Goggins thing, right? You're only 40%. When you think you can't go anymore, you're only 40% there or whatever.
And you got to trick yourself into thinking that too, because you feel like you're 100% done. So,
yeah. What are some ways, like, just curious, and I'm genuinely curious because we're both training for an Ironman too, where it's like, what gives, like, I know, like, I've been gaining confidence by, like, I did a 10-mile run and it felt easy. I did an 80-mile bike ride. It felt easy. Like, those are my bouts of confidence where I'm like, well, if I can do 80, I can do 112, right? If I can do 10, I can feel like I can do 26. Like, is that what you do to build confidence, or what is your way to build confidence in yourself?
That's all you need right there. Is like, you do 10 was easy. I could definitely do 20.
Yeah.
80 was easy. I could definitely do 112. And then when you get to that point, because it's going to get hard, and it's going to probably get hard before you get to 80 miles on that bike. And when you get to that point, you're like, remember that time you did 80 and it was easy? Remember you told yourself that 112 would be easy? And like, you're like, and there's also like, whenever I get to that point of like, it's tough, it's like, when I'm in the right frame of mind, and this sounds like totally psychotic, but I'm literally like calling myself the worst names possible. You're such a, like, all this over and over again, like and then like you get going again, you're going like, you're a beast, you're a savage, you're doing this, yada yada yada. And it's like, you're saying this in your head, and it's like, it sounds crazy when I say it out loud, but like, literally, I remember in that 25-mile rate, like when I was finishing those last 25 miles, I was literally saying that. I was like, this is the most pain you've ever been in your life, and you love this shit right now. Like, this is your favorite thing right now. And like, it's completely psychotic.
Yeah.
Never.
You gotta learn to, like,
that's what it is.
You got to learn to live with that good pain, right? Because that good pain is just a part of growth. And you're going to, obviously, physically, it's easy to see that, whether it's wrestling or racing. But, when you're on your real estate journey and you're wholesaling or you're flipping or whatever, like, you're going to get hosed, right? You're going to lose money. You're going to destroy some relationships. People aren't going to like you. And it's like, throw on your suit of armor, because that's life, right? And like,
all
get
the
ready.
time.
Yeah.
I mean, this year we had probably 300,000 of deals fall apart at the closing table, and there's nothing we could do about it. Just gone.
Yep. Gone. Yeah, that's great advice, man. I love that.
The final four.
All right. So Chandler, what are you reading right now? Sounds like you only read a book every 4 months, but
I don't think he knows how to read.
Now?
Shoot. I only listen to audiobooks because I'm illiterate. I'm just kidding. No, we actually just read 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. I just finished it probably like last week. And that, for us, was probably a very critical book. And what we did is we went through the book, all of our leadership team, we read it, went through the exercises and did everything. And so I mean, for me, that was super impactful.
Kind of on that question too, I guess, like, who are some of the people that you follow? Because I know you don't read, but I know you're an avid learner. So who are some of the people that you follow that if you're not a reader, like, I
learn all the time.
Yeah.
Every day. That's another thing too, is like, every day I learn something new. There's never a day that goes by where I get worse. That's another thing too, is like, on top of my advice, always learn every day, just learn something, get better in some way, whether it's financial, business, personal, whatever. But who do I learn from? Right now, man, Craig, you're gonna laugh at this, but Alex Hormozi is the man. If you guys are not listening to him and you're in the business world, you are burning money right now. Alex Hormozi is the man. I learned from Real Estate Disruptors podcast, which is Steve Schrank's podcast. He has big time investors on there all the time. Other than that, we're in multiple masterminds. So I mean, we spend a lot of money on masterminds every month. And so we're in like one Collective Genius, which is kind of like GoBundance, if you guys are familiar with that, but for just real estate mainly. So it's mainly just like, you have to be doing 75 plus deals a year or a certain amount in revenue. And so we're in that. And then we got a couple more like masterminds that we're in. Steve Trang's mastermind. There's more than that, like Sharper Process. It's like this business consulting thing.
So in short, it's Alex Hormozi is kind of your main guy. You like the real estate podcast guys. And then join masterminds, right? Like, join people that are doing what you want to do and being where you want to be. Because like you said, like, you think like a millionaire, you'll be a millionaire, but like, even more powerful than that is surrounding yourself with millionaires and you'll be a millionaire.
And there also comes a point too, is like, where podcast information doesn't come fast enough to where you listen to an hour of a podcast and you're like, you only learned one thing, but you can listen to an hour of a mastermind call and you can learn 5. So it's like, at what point you got to value your time too, at a certain point, like, how fast can I get this information? How fast are we trying to go? So for us, like, that's why I don't really watch much stuff that's not exclusive.
For sure. All right, man. Second question. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh man, I got this written down. I can't. Best piece of advice. Wait, is this the one? This is one of the 4 questions. Oh yeah, here we
Yeah.
go. Yeah, so this one is not really advice, but this is more of like a situation. So my freshman year in high school, I told my wrestling coach after my first year wrestling that I want to be a state champ when I was a senior. And the biggest thing that really impacted my entire life and probably changed everything for me is he didn't say that's crazy, you probably can't do that. He said, all right, let's sit down and talk about how we can accomplish it. So that small shift and like what he did for me is he went to dinner with me and my family. And he's like, look, this is going to be one of the hardest things you've ever done, but here's what you got to do. And he told me exactly what to do, the timelines I need to hit in order to accomplish it. And all I did was just do my daily actions in order to get there. So for me, what that taught me and like why that's the amazing advice and amazing situation is that if you want to accomplish it, it's super simple. You just take where you're at right now, where you want to go, and then you just figure out how to bridge the gap, and then you just do stuff every day and you get there. So for me,
For
that's
sure.
the best advice.
I love that. And kind of like the compound effect, right? You do a little bit every day, and over the course of 4 years, you'll be crazy a lot better than you were.
So much better.
All right. So number 3, what is your why?
What is my why? My why is, I mean, it's kind of lame, but it's just like, I just want to make the biggest impact possible, touch as many people as possible. One of the things I wrote down is that I want to make 100 7-figure operators in business. So like in wholesaling. So like, just teach 100 people to how to get their business to 100K a month. Right now I got one guy who I'm mentoring one-on-one. I got lucky enough, he asked me to do it, and I was like, I believed in the guy, so I taught him. Hopefully that he's the first one, but that's my goal, is just to be able to teach people how to do it. So make a big impact.
I love that because it takes us right back around to the generosity thing. It's just like, you're not looking at how much money I can make. You're looking at like, how can I get these people to these certain levels? And by doing that, you're going to be getting money out of it. Right. So
Yeah, exactly.
the success comes back around.
Yeah. The value I'm providing is, the value I'm providing is far accessible he's paying. So.
All right, man. Last question. What is the weirdest thing you've ever seen in someone else's home?
Oh, okay. So it wasn't me who saw it, but I got a picture from our guy. It was there's this gay couple. They sold their house to us because like the dude's like husband or boyfriend died. Big Ron, man. I was one of the few sellers I actually talked to because there was like some big issue, but you guys are hilarious. Anyways, we went and cleaned out his house. I get a picture of just a big old dildo, just
Oh no.
a massive one. And it was kind of funny, but
Yeah.
that's probably the weirdest thing. And then another one, actually, we went up to we were gonna buy a house in Fairplay. So we went up there, and there was like on the counter, there was like definitely some human body part in the container. That was pretty rough. Another
Yeah.
time, like there was like no bathroom floor. There's just water and rats everywhere in the basement. There's no bathroom floor anywhere. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of.
It's just wood, or like what was like there was. What do you mean? There's no floor.
There's just no floor in the bathroom. There's just a toilet. There's a toilet, and then there was this tub, and that's it.
Wow. Okay. All right. I figured that would be a good question for you because you've probably seen a lot of weird houses. All right, man. Where can people find out more about you?
Probably the best way is go to my Instagram at Chandler Saine, and Saine is how you spell Saine. So Saine. That's where everything's at. I'm starting to post on YouTube now. So if you're into wholesaling, I'm gonna be posting videos there. But it's gonna be less like beginner stuff and more like just general like business stuff. That's kind of what I'm more into.
Cool.
So, but yeah, you can see me on Instagram, best place. And we also have a Facebook group too, but that's on my Instagram as well. So in my link tree.
All right, Chandler, thanks so much for coming on the show, bro. It was good chatting with you, and we'll see you soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Love being here.
Love having us on our
Nice.
show.
Yeah, love having you all here, man.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Peace.
And that was Chandler Saine. Z, what do you think of Chandler?
You're gonna have to tell him that we renamed him
Yeah.
before this episode comes out. Be like,
Oh,
dude,
no,
we got a nickname for you.
He'll
What
figure
up?"
it out. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I think it's a great show in the sense that he really talks about mindset a lot. He talks about being generous and developing people and how that can really turn into something magical. I think, mindset is kind of like the way that more traditional businessy people talk about manifesting. That's kind of like the woo-woo way of talking about it, but it's true. It's like, if you focus on that mindset of being a millionaire, or if you're focusing on it in that woo-woo way, but you're writing about it and you're visualizing it, it's all the same thing. It's going to take you to that place. And so believing in yourself is the key move. He also gives a lot of knowledge about mentoring and how to go about getting a mentor and not getting a mentor. So I think that's something we talk about quite a bit, and it's a really good.
There's kind of a brilliant quote that we didn't mention in the show, but I really love is, if you go alone, you go fast. If you go together, you go far. And I just think like, don't go in this alone, right? Go in with a partner, go in with a friend. And by partner, I don't mean like he's a partner in a deal together, but like maybe you and a friend start house hacking at the same time. So you can throw ideas of each other. You can, or at least join a group of house hackers, in your area or whatever. And so you have that like camaraderie, and you have the same problems. You can ask the questions, and people have probably dealt with the problems that you're having. So that would be my words of wisdom for today.
Uh-oh, your voice is tapping out. More words of wisdom, Craig. All done.
I now sound like Morgan Freeman. It worked. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome, Z. Well, guys and girls, if you listen to the show, please, if you could leave us a rating and review on iTunes, it means the world to us. Shoot us a DM on Instagram. If you like the show, I'm at the FI guy. Zeona is just Zeona McIntyre. And we'd love to just hear your feedback, and always looking to improve. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
That's it for this episode of Investify. We hope that these nuggets of real estate wisdom lead to more savvy financial planning and a clearer path towards financial freedom. For more content like this, subscribe to the show at investify.com. Don't forget to leave a rating and share it with your friends. Together, we can transform more real estate newbies into successful and clever investors. Thank you so much for listening. See you on the next one.